As it turns out, there was only one who knew about politics, and it was Ed Renwick. I always appreciated that. That was kind of like my coming of age in the political science.
That's not a nice way to start out, right?
That's too nice,
Somebody has to speak the truth.
Pat Robertson couldn't be here.
Ready? Oh. Okay. How many of you at your first coalition roast tonight? Just raise your hand. Okay. How many of you are not at your first? This is secondary. All right. As those of you who've been here before will know, and those of you who may find out, there is absolutely nothing different about the roast for you here. It is.
Same script.
It's the same thing, okay?
Homemade chili.
And in keeping with that, this being New Orleans is not wanting to break our tradition. We certainly didn't want to deviate from that this year, okay? And so more of the same, including this opening bit, okay, which is on this premise, and I explain the premise is that when the coalition first started, way back in the 60s or so, it was started by a bunch of people who were, wanting change and, wanting to change the establishment. This was like in the waning days of Vic Skiro's administration.
That's funny.
All of a sudden, Moon Landry was elected, and all these people found out that they were the establishment. And then they were sort of like, there was still the point where they were sort of like down on the wealthy. Then they became part of the wealthy. Down on property owners, they became property owners. So anyway, all these things changed. And so because of that, over the years, whereas it was sort of like a loose, sort of almost hippie-like organization that, it's an organization of chiefs now, and so we have to provide services such as this one at the roast. That is that everybody here there's so many important people that we have a message service where we always begin the roast. Seeing as some of you didn't RSVP, no one knew you were coming, and so there weren't any messages left for you. So if you didn't get a message, it's your fault. Anyway, messages, and then this is the serious part that we'll get on with the skit. Let me just get out of the way. Is Ian McNaughton here? Ian, okay. Ian, prominent architect, good news. You have an offer from a company that's just gotten a lot of national exposure and wants you to redesign and improve its building and take advantage of it. The Texas Motel on the Airline Highway. Lee Young wants nothing to new personnel. Speaking of Lee Young, okay. Now apparently it must have been a last moment decision that the sheriff was going to show up because as it turns out he sent you a message earlier in the day. Lee works for Sheriff Valentine and handles public relations and whatever else. Anyway, it turns out that the sheriff is jealous of the publicity that other sheriffs have gotten lately, and so he has an idea. He wants to promote this, that he's ordering his deputies to stop and give subpoenas to any Chinese that they see.
That's wonderful.
You could have said Italian.
There's, hey, we didn't make the joke. There's Polly Renwick here. Oh, Polly Renwick, okay. Polly is an art collector, and when you think of art collector, who else do you think of but Ronnie Lamar, okay? He claims to have an original Picasso, and if you buy it from him before noon Saturday, he'll throw in the framing and the hanging wire. And all accessories. He's American. Is Gail Gagliano here? Gail works for Metro College at UNO. Bad news. They need you to go back to making an addendum to the catalog. they just struck a deal with the Institute of Politics for an adjunct course for aspiring politicians on how to make license plates.
Certificate program.
A certificate program.
Yes.
Is Steve Hand here? Steve Hand,
He's here.
the non-political director of the Bucca Rate Committee. You have a message from the Louisiana Historical Society that notes that the quarter already has a moonwalk in the Dutch Alley, and when Edwin was going out of office, they suggested to name something after him, Pirates Alley. Did Jim Chubbuck show up? No, he didn't, huh? Probably because he got this message. So he's been called back to the airport for a big celebration. It turns out that Continental Airlines just lost its 1 millionth piece of luggage. Is Iris Kelso here?
Oh.
A former coalition roastee. You got a message from one of my favorite people, Charlie Ferguson. It says that he just had this big idea that with the Republicans coming to town, he wants you to cover the eventual winner, and he has a hunch he knows who it is, so he wants you to go out and join the Pierre DuPont campaign. And follow it all the way through. It's Flora Clancy here from WBL. Oh, hi. You got a letter from the executive office at CBS saying, thanks for your concern about Dan Rather as anchor and for your suggestions, but we're not sure if the country is ready for the CBS Evening News with Frank Davis. And I'm not either. Is Bob DuPont here? There he is. Dean Bob DuPont, you know, who's I got a message from the Tourist Commission of all people. It turns out they've been strapped for funds for the Metropolitan College, and they're looking for ways to raise money. And they wanted to advise you that while it's true that the Republicans will be arriving, that the Republicans will be arriving by plane rather than car, so washing windshields probably won't work as a fundraiser. Republican jokes never work. Is Jane Jurek here? Oh, Jane. Jane's been involved in a lot of campaigns, and here's someone who wants to get involved in another one. Someone wants you to head up a movement to change the city charter to limit the mayor's term to 1 term, and it's signed Dutch. And finally, is Joan McNaughton here?
Joan?
Joan.
Here she is. This one?
Here's a message from an anonymous coalition member. It says, thanks for allowing us into your home tonight. For $1,000, you can get your jewelry and checkbook back. With those messages read, let me introduce the person primarily responsible for most of us to follow, Bob DuPont.
It's an honor for me to take part tonight in a tribute to one of the academic, political, and of course broadcasting community's most respected members, Dr. Ed Renwick. And as Errol says, in past years, we've kind of followed the same format, and as you know, there's always a temptation to make light of these events to resort to cheap laughs and cheap jokes. In preparing tonight's program, we had the same temptation. Certainly, there's been a lot of material in the news this past year. Jim and Tammy Baker, Ollie North, Iran scam, the governor's race, and most recently, of course, the fall of Brother Swagger. So much material, as they say, so little time. But as always, in the interest of public service and education, we've decided to take a serious look at the practice of polling and covering elections. As most of you know, the New Orleans Coalition has a long and distinguished history of political action, and our ability to predict winners and losers is at least as accurate as our honorees. The coalition, I believe 20 years old this year, for example, picked Humphrey in '68, McGovern in '72, Carter in '76 and '80, and Mondale in '84. Well, 1 out of 5 isn't too bad. And though our record in the governor's races is not quite as dismal, the coalition did endorse Bubba Henry some years ago. Of course, some people think that Bubba actually won this year. This year, the coalition endorsed, of all people, Billy Tozan. You know, $4 million and 9% of the vote. For political activists, though, it isn't always important to pick the winner. We have, theoretically, the luxury of voting our principles. For political scientists and pollsters, however, picking the winner is very important. In a peculiar paraphrase of Earl Long, those who poll accurately for losing campaigns get publicity. Those who poll for winning campaigns get paid. Our guest tonight has found a clever way to get around this dilemma. Like a stockbroker who makes money whether the market goes up or down. Our guest takes polls for winners and losers and then hedges his bets by appearing on local TV as a political commentator. Well, unknown to Dr. Renwick, we have obtained his sensitive polling data on Super Tuesday's primary races. In addition, the coalition sources are so good, we know not only the results, but also the plans for the TV commentary that night, and we're going to share them with you. The TV business is highly competitive, and Channel 4's Eyewitness News will jazz up that night's coverage with a distinctly different look. We take you now to the newsroom of Channel 4 for our presentation of what we call Polstergeist 3, Renwick List.
Know that shawl anywhere.
Hello. Welcome to an Eyewitness News Special Edition, Super Tuesday 1988. I'm Angela Thrill, and I'm pleased to present my co-anchor and commentator for tonight, Dr. Ed Renwick. We are so lucky to have such an expert on polling and a PhD on our program, and a professor at that.
Thank you, Angela. Why don't we let the folks know a little about tonight's program?
Classrooms are calling.
Teachings are calling.
I'm so enthralling, so let's commentate tonight. 8 is frenetic.
6 is pathetic.
We're energetic, so let's commentate tonight.
Ratings are great.
I've got a new mate.
For our brand of wisdom, viewers can't wait.
We've got the training to do the explaining. Newsmen aren't always all that bright.
IOP tomorrow, commentate tonight.
Winning.
Heart is still sinning.
Robertson's grinning, so let's commentate tonight.
Simon is dreary.
Schroeder is teary.
Owners are weary,
So let's commentate tonight. No news too small, no men too tall. Those stupid questions we'll ask
tomorrow, on the day
tonight. Well, Ed, this is Super Tuesday night. I haven't been so excited since the community gathering included 2 garden shows and a fundraiser for the SPCA. Ed, what's that you have?
That's my 10-foot pole, of course.
Washington townhouses and Bimini, Mr. Gary Hart. Mr. Hart.
Call me Gary.
Gary.
Yeah, listen,
The
just tell me,
latest-
sweetie, when we get on the air, okay?
Oh, what is that you have on your, over your
Oh, is that on there?
Yeah. Okay, Gary.
Yeah.
The largest returns we have give you less than 0.05% of the vote. In fact, you seem to have gotten only 3 votes out of all of Baton Rouge.
That would probably be Broadhurst, Edwards, Swigert. Probably the only Democrats with new ideas.
Ed, can you explain Mr. Hart's pathetic showing?
Of course, Angela. My polling data show that some time ago. If you sample key precincts and extrapolate these 84 results and factor in the Iowa caucuses and the New Hampshire primary, you come up with a Hart result of exactly 5%, just as I predicted.
Dr. Renwick. Hart hasn't gained 5%. He's got only 0.05%.
Did I say 5%? I meant 0.05%. Of course. Just as I predicted. The science of polology never lies.
Okay, Mr. Hart, would you like to add anything for our viewers?
Well, Angela, I did my best, of course. And I'll stay in this race to bring new ideas to the party and to the country. I will continue to stand by the Constitution, the Declaration, and the 9 Commandments until the day
Wait.
I...
Mr. Hart, there are 10 commandments.
That's where I went wrong.
Now, Angela, I'm sure that our viewers will want to know that I predicted the outcome of today's voting based on my polling data, key precinct analysis, and exit polling. On the Democratic side, it will be Jackson, Dukakis, and Babbitt in that order. And for the GOP, Bush, Dole, and Haig. I'm finished. Can I go home now?
But Dr. Renwick, Babbitt, and Haig dropped out of the race already. Surely they won't do that well.
Dropped out? Who dropped out?
Haig and Babbitt.
Oh. Well, never mind.
Well, we look forward to your new projections. In the meantime, here is Vice President George Bush entering our studios. It's so good to see you.
I'm tough.
Yes, Mr. Vice President, we know.
And I can handle the media, miss, so don't cross me.
Yes, Mr. Bush, if you'd rather postpone this.
Don't say rather to me. He never laid a glove on me. I'm tough.
Mr. Vice President, can you give us some idea of your strategy for your changing image? My polling data indicates that over 75% of your male supporters are named Biff or Blake. And over 75% of your female supporters are named Muffy. Can you really build a political base on a junior league and BMW owners?
I've got a plan for changing that image. My new campaign song will give you some idea. I've been driving 18-wheelers to hide my privileged past. I've been fighting with Dan Rather just to kick a little ass. Don't forget I trashed Roro to prove that I was tough. Dole and Kemp, you better watch out, 'cause preppies can play rough. When it comes to special interests, I pander with the best. I will cater to the right wing, to Falwell and the rest. I will pardon Bud McFarlane, North Seaboard and all. My first ambassador's appointment will go to Ms. Von Hall. Pledge my loyalty to Reagan, the Gipper is my man. I have followed his directions, even arms sales to Iran. When the press begins to question, all our jaws are set. When the Congress asks who did it, we all say I forget. Memory lapses can be helpful at every campaign stop. Honesty can cost me voters in my crusade to the top. Integrity can be a bother at the very least. When I've an ethical dilemma, I consulted Mies.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bush. Dr. Renwick, what are you doing?
I'm examining my key precincts.
Ed, our next guest is Reverend Jackson. What can you tell us about the black vote tonight?
Angela, my scientific polling methods have indicated an incredible correlation between Jackson's vote and black registration. His vote is particularly heavy in my key 9th Ward and Central City precincts. Right here on the floor. Lost the votes. I have to tell you that this is a great surprise considering Jackson's politics. I would never have believed that a white conservative Democrat from Washington, with a pro-defense leaning, would capture black votes. Maybe witnessing a great political upset tonight.
Ed, the candidate is Jesse Jackson, not Scoop Jackson. Reverend Jackson is black and liberal, not white and conservative and dead.
Oh, never mind.
I'm so glad to be here to express my views. I've got a great respect for eyewitness news.
So nice to see you. Do you have any observations about our city?
I know it's not polite to give my hosts any flack, but I sure wish this city would elect a mayor who is black.
New Orleans has elected black mayor since 1977, Maury Allen Bartholomew.
The news you bring is a surprise to me. Blacks called Dutch, and worse, Sydney. It seems it's time to reassess my position. Their genes must be a rainbow coalition.
In light of your strong showing in tonight's election, do you have any other ambitions in this city?
Y'all been so polite. I don't mean to leave a hex. But the next time you'll see me, I'll be king of Rex.
Do you have any comments about your fellow Democratic candidates?
They lack flair and polish, and what's so much worse, there's not one dude who can talk in verse.
Has anything in particular surprised you about campaigning in New Orleans? Is it different from other parts of the country?
There's been some surprises, and some things are funny. It's the first place that soul has cost lots of money.
It's time to wrap up the results. Ed, would you please read the latest returns?
Of course, Angela. Here are the partial returns. 30%, 20%, 18%, and the rest undecided. On the Democratic side, Dukakis, Jackson, Gore, and Gephardt, though not necessarily in that order.
Well, Dr. Renwick, it has been a real pleasure listening to your wisdom. It ain't for the money.
That's the truth, honey.
Who needs it funny? So let's commentate tonight.
Boost our position with lots of derision. That's television. Let's commentate tonight.
No need for sex to keep them impressed.
Political science and good old BS.
Who knows what
Exit poll is right. Accuracy tomorrow. Commentate tonight.
The show, of course, was so successful, the Channel 4 news department decided to set up a special press conference for Dr. Renwick. A special kind of press conference where he would get to answer the questions before they were even asked. Are our reporters in place? Reporters? They're here.
Dr. John.
The answer
The answer is Dr. John.
The question is, Dr. Renwick, where does Frank Minyard practice his trumpet?
we put the slow ones first.
I didn't write this. The answer is Fats Domino.
What's the name of Lawrence Hardy's new pizza delivery business?
The answer is Saks Canal Street.
What does a kid do after going to a rap concert?
The answer is Chief McCrossan.
Who puts out Mac Fires?
Errol wrote these.
That one was the low point. From here on, it's
We're going to hold you to that, Errol.
The answer is Doc Ford.
Question is, what happened when the mayor spoke to a convention of physicians?
City Hall at quitting time.
The answer is Walker Romer.
Name a pole and a revolution.
The answer is opening wine and paying for grand golf.
Dr. Renwick, would you name 2 screw jobs for us?
The answer is city grass cutters on the neutral ground and the cemetery at the foot of Canal Street.
Would you name 2 places where odd fellows rest?
The answer is Roshan and Sydney.
Dr. Renwick, name 1 person who controls City Hall and a city in Australia.
God, I wish I'd thought of this. Yeah, a lot better on Wednesday night. The answer is Spuds McKenzie.
And the question is, what do you call a potato king cake?
The answer is Moonstruck.
Why did Dutch have a black eye?
The answer is Kinko's.
Where does Joe Biden get his speeches?
The answer is Commander's Palace.
What does Charlie Fody call his prison?
When the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter is aligned with Mars.
When does the city collect sales tax?
God, you people can make me laugh. The answer is Winn-Dixie.
Dr. Renwick, tell us Jesse Jackson's strategy for Super Tuesday.
The answer is Fatal Attraction.
What do you call it if Gary Hart selected Edwin Edwards as a running mate?
The answer is 3 men and a baby.
What's the attendance like at UNO basketball games?
The answer is Apocalypse Now.
The question is, how can New Orleans be made to look more like Jefferson Parish?
And the last answer.
Somebody went to the movies a lot. The answer is Good Morning, Vietnam.
How are the employees at Schwegman's greeted in the morning?
Before I turn this back over to Pat, I wanted to thank two of the people who are in the cast, our professional actors, and not only can be seen locally, but Peter, I understand, movie of the week when? sequel to In the Heat of the Night. Peter plays, I think, a deputy or something. And a continuing miniseries after that. Peter, if you introduce Kenny for everyone,
Ken,
please.
Ken Ferguson does stand-up comedy, has played various Dennis Davis, does a lot of freelance work, and does impersonations in strong point, as you can tell.
Been very generous in donating their talents to coalitions against the past few years, and we appreciate it. Thank all of you, and Pat, I know, right here.
A round of applause for Bob and Errol. At this point, we'd like to thank Dr. Renwick for being with us tonight and allowing us to be the brunt of our fun. He's served the community, particularly the political community, for a long time here, and we've all enjoyed his commentaries on TV, and particularly enjoyed them tonight. We now will give you time to rebut anything you care to say or remarks.
I realized tonight was going to be a very good evening when Pat picked us up and we came over the bridge and we got stopped in a traffic jam because an RTA bus had broken down and blocked all the traffic. So that was kind of a,
That was the first joke.
Yeah, that was kind of a premonition that was going to happen here the rest of the evening. But thank you very much. I wish I had you writers for Wednesday night. I think I'd do a lot better. The station probably wishes, I'm glad I don't. But I'd probably have one Wednesday night appearance and that would be it. But
Let's go for it.
yeah, let's go. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. It's very funny. I really thought. And I have to get Angela a new scarf. And I won't be on several Wednesday nights because I have to prepare for the wedding. But they really are a great crew to work for. It is an amazing situation how well everybody gets along down there and how well it really goes. You think, that the whole thing might never work, but it really seems to work. I've never worked really with a group of people better than the people I work with at Channel 4. They all really are very helpful. They get along with everybody. And it really isn't just show on TV. In fact, it's probably warmer off camera than they are on camera. Everybody working with everybody. It's a very, very enjoyable experience doing that. And on election night, when we have all of these problems, and many of which, like you people have talked about tonight, a lot of these problems really do exist. I mean, there are incredible problems come up, and sometimes funnier than you could ever imagine. I know we have literally started the 6 o'clock news with me going to discuss one subject and have ended up having me discuss another subject. Because news is changing so fast that it literally changes within a few minutes. And on election night, of course, we have all these problems that, like the data comes in, it's all screwed up. Oh, we can't go on with this data. I know it's all screwed up. I've gone out on the set with them, and they said, you're going to project? I said, hell no, it's all screwed up. I've got to straighten it out. We've elected some strange people in private, I can assure you. But thank God what public we have. It really is a very, very tense, and we do make, we make some mistakes. I make mistakes, but thank God they never let them get on the air before we get all straightened out. And it is a very, very wonderful and enriching experience. I'm just waiting for the time we never do straighten it out and I get out there and make a complete asshole. And then you'll probably never have me back because you say, that was even funnier than this. So we don't have to. But we really try to give it our all, and hopefully we'll never make a massive mistake on camera. But God willing, we never will. But there's always a first, I tell them. I keep looking forward to it.
I'll keep some ratings up.
Yeah, it keeps those ratings up. We make a real big mistake. Until the next night. And then it's right down the tube. Ed who? And that'll be the end of it all. But so far it's been fun, and thank you very, very much. I really enjoyed it. Very, very enjoyed it.
It's the final.
Humiliation. More or less, we have for you a roast. Sorry about that. Well, after buying a house, we can certainly use it. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. For those of you who have not